Hello again, everybody. Welcome. I'm very glad that you're here today on this special day. As most of you know, who are joining us here live, this is my last chance to be with you here in a live session before I get ready to take a big trip and start a new phase, a new job in life. And so it's a very exciting time. And like many of you, this is also a really busy time, despite all of the things that are going on. There's seemingly a never-ending list of things to do. And that sometimes gets me in that mode of doing, and sometimes forgetting to take the time to slow down and to practice just being a human being. So that's what this class is about. It's called Bless Your Heart, and it's really all about self-care. So something I recommend you have for the beginning of class is a blanket, or even, as mentioned, a towel is fine that you could roll up. You could also use your yoga mat if you don't have any of those things. And what you want to do is roll your support as tightly as you can so that you have a very narrow and also a fairly firm support. So I'm showing you, I really want to take the time to get a narrow, long roll. This is going to be placed underneath your back, right in the middle of your spine. And we're going to come to lie down on the back at the beginning here. So set up your mat so that you can get comfortable on your back with some kind of support behind you. So you'll place the support, place your blanket roll perhaps a hand distance away from your seat, and then help yourself down so that your head has support, the upper back, the middle back, and then your seat, the lowest part of your back, is hanging off of the roll. And just take a moment and allow yourself to settle in and get comfortable. Now you can keep the knees bent and the feet on the floor. Or if it feels nice in your lower back, you can extend your legs one at a time. And you can decide if it feels better to have the hands lower down by your hips, or maybe up a little bit higher, out wide. Again, just make sure that you take the time to find a position that works for you. So you want to get as comfortable as you can while having a little bit of extra support behind you. And this will help gently push a little bit on the inner organs and open the front of the body, opening the chest and the heart especially. It gives all of the inner organs this gentle push and massage-like feeling. So once you arrive in your position, breathe in deeply and perhaps exhale with a sigh. Give yourself any time and any adjustments you need to if you notice that something isn't quite right. Your forehead here will be just a little bit higher than the chin, or at the same level as the chin, so that the neck feels long on all sides. And if you like, you could even close your eyes. We're going to be here for about 4 more minutes. Really just want to give yourself the time to connect inwards and let go of the outside world of distractions and thoughts. With every exhale, see if you can let go of anything else you don't need. Allowing yourself to fully arrive in this body in this moment and in this breath. Again, take a moment to notice what it feels like in this position, right here, right now. And notice if with your exhales that there's any tension in your physical body that you might be able to soften and release, allowing your whole body to almost melt a little bit heavier into the floor. Once you've given yourself some time here, I'd like you to consider what it is that your body, or maybe even what it is that your heart needs right now. What is that quality of taking care that you'd like to give yourself, to offer to yourself, so that you can perhaps share that wonderful offering with the whole world? Because the truth is, we all want to be present in our lives. We want to fully show up for those around us so that we can be compassionate, that we can be creative, that we can offer something of beauty and inspiration to all our loved ones. But the truth of the matter is, we cannot give what we don't have, and we cannot have what we will not receive. That's why it's really important here to take the time to take care of yourself, of your body, of your mind, of your heart, and your experience, so that you can, in the words of Maya Angelou, prepare yourself to be a blessing to somebody. Let that quality, that offering, which you would like to bless your heart with, be your intention for your practice today. And now bring your attention to your breathing. And simply notice if the length or the strength of your inhales is longer or shorter than your exhales. Or perhaps it's the other way around. Noticing the rise of the inhale and the fall of each exhalation. Whenever possible, breathing in through the nose. And if it feels good, if it feels better, you can also breathe out through the mouth, sighing, making sounds. Also a nice way to release tension. And now let's see if we can balance the breathing. On your next inhale, again, notice and feel. And then take your time with the exhale so that the exhale is just as long, just as easy, and full. And take a few more breaths like that, simply balancing the length, the strength, even the feeling of your breath in, with that intensity, with that fluidity of each breath out. So there's no right way here, no wrong way. Simply see if you can find your way to a rich and balanced, full breath. Feel free to stay with that practice, and you can also return to it anytime you notice your attention has wandered away from your breathing. And if you like, you can add a visualization technique to your breathing awareness. So the energy in our bodies has a number of different patterns for how it moves and flows. And one of the ones that's most important for the circulation in the body is called Vijnana Vayu. So this is going to be our heart breathing pattern for today. And I'd like you to imagine on your next inhale that the breath begins in the center of your heart and opens and expands in all directions endlessly. And as you exhale, the breath collects and softens, returning inwards to the center of your heart. And continue breathing like this, seeing if you can tune your awareness a little bit more inwards and feel what that's like as your awareness expands to all parts of your body. And as you exhale, observe any feelings, any sensations that come back and collect in the heart with your breath. Aligning ourselves with this Vijnana Vayu pattern. On your next inhale, allow the breath to carry the body into movement by moving the arms with the breath overhead. And then as you exhale, allow the arms to fall heavy, but also soft, back to where you started. We'll move again in your rhythm with the breathing. So here I try to pay attention to my shoulders, keeping them nice and heavy in the direction of the floor, especially as I exhale, soft and heavy shoulders, letting the arms just flow with the breath. And do 2 or 3 more like this at your rhythm. And also bend the elbows a little bit if that helps you keep your shoulders feeling relaxed and in the direction of your body and the floor. And at the end of your next exhale, simply relax the arms, coming back into your resting position and pausing for a moment to notice and feel. We're going to come off of our blanket. You might want to bend your knees, putting your feet on the floor so that you have a little bit more support as you roll to the side. Remove your prop from underneath you. You might want to keep it close for later. And again, return to your back, resting with your whole back, the back of the head and the shoulders on the floor. And again, you have the choice here to adjust your position in the way that feels best for your body in this moment. I'm taking a moment here to compare. Take a couple of mental notes, almost like an inner selfie. Noticing again anything that you can notice. And feeling especially any differences that you might already feel from when we started. take the time to take care. And when you're ready, bring your arms over your chest, and we're going to grab opposite elbows with opposite hands. I'm going to keep my forearms here about the height of the heart at first. And then on an exhale, and allow the elbows to drop down to the side. And if my head feels like it's moving in that direction, I'm just going to let it move. And inhale, come back to center. Exhale, let the elbows slide over to the opposite side. And if the head feels pulled, just let it move with your arms. Now let your arms move with your breath. We're riding these wings of your heart, the arms, on the winds of your breath. And again, not holding your head so hard or your neck so rigid that it can't move, but really allowing any parts of your body that feel like they just move naturally with the arms to be pulled and moved in any direction. You might notice some popping, some cracking, or any other sounds or sensations. That's good. Notice that. And the next time you come back to center, let's see if we can explore a bit. So now I'm moving my forearms down a little bit closer to my waist, to my hips and the belly, and continuing this same action of just letting the arms ride the breath. And if that doesn't feel so interesting, or if I don't feel much of anything, I might explore in a different position. Perhaps bring your arms up to the height of your forehead and explore there. If that is a more interesting position, and all of the time, breathing in and out of the center of your heart. And wherever you've been, see what it's like if you bring some circular motion into your breathing and your awareness by moving the arms around in a circle. This could be a very small circle or maybe bigger, if that feels better, more fun. And again, the speed doesn't matter. Let's see if you can notice the shape of it, as circular as is easy, and especially notice where there's some tight spots or some tough spots. If there's any resistance, don't try to force anything, but really give your body the time and give yourself the moment here to notice what that's like. After your next circle, pause, and we'll rotate in the other direction. Keeping your lower body nice and heavy here, and allowing the movement to be guided by your breath. So I often like to exhale when my arms come closer to the body, and inhale when I open the arms up away from the body a bit more. And that might feel right for you, or you might feel it better in a different relationship. We're really just warming up mindfully here and remembering to say thank you to this body that holds us throughout this whole life and all of our living experience. We're going to try to use all of these poses and our awareness of breathing to say thank you to the body and the heart. And then come back and rest again in any comfortable resting position. Taking the time again to notice and feel. When you're ready, bend your knees and put the feet on the ground, with the feet about as wide as your mat, or maybe even a little bit wider open than that. Your knees pointing up. And then on the exhale, we're going to let the knees move over to the side, keeping the feet on the floor and the upper body resting on the ground. Inhale, back to center. And exhale, let the knees move over to the side together. Let the feet stay grounded. The back of the head on the ground. But if your head and neck feel like they want to turn, then that's also fine. You could turn in the same direction and or the opposite direction as your knees. Important here is really just connecting with your experience. So if you notice that your mind has wandered at any time, that's okay. It's quite normal. But simply notice when that happens and then bring your attention back to this moment. So the next time your legs and your knees come over to the first side, let them stay there for a while. So if your inner knee, this is if your knees are moving to the left, your right knee, we're going to try to reach it a little bit more away from the head. So reaching it towards the bottom corner of your mat so that the tissues on the front side or this top side of the leg stretch out long away from your body. And bringing your attention back again to the Vyana Vayu breath from the center of your heart. With every exhale, allowing your awareness to come back and collect at the seat of the heart. Now we also have an option here for a little bit more resistance. We can bring that outer leg on top of the outside of the inner leg. So if your knees are to the left, it's the left foot that's on the outside of the right knee. Now remember, this is about taking care. So I'm not trying to force the knee down. And if anything hurts, I'm definitely doing too much. So I will stop, take it a little bit easier, or even take a break. But I'm using this foot on the outside of the knee to help reach that leg more long away from the center of the body. And then bringing my attention back to the breath. And if the foot is on top of the knee, go ahead and place it back on the floor and inhale, come back up to center, pausing for as long as you need to. And when you feel ready, let both knees fall over to the second side. And we're going to stay here for several breaths. So you might need to adjust your position if it feels in any way difficult. If it feels like it can't be held, then don't hold it. Try to let the legs be heavy here, and it might be helpful after you lengthen your leg with your breathing. Bring your awareness to the front of the knee and stretch the knee away from you. It might be helpful to add a little bit of weight on the outside of the inner leg, using the outer foot there. Again, this is not to force the knee, not to force the leg. So see if you can notice here the tone of your posture. And we're looking in all of these poses for a tone of compassion, of caring. And perhaps you might also notice that tone that resonates with any of those qualities that you wanted to offer of yourself and to yourself. Once you settle into a loving tone in this pose, you can bring your attention back to your breathing, perhaps turning the head in the opposite direction, And with each exhale, returning your awareness back to the center of your heart. If the foot is on the outside of the leg, bring the foot to the floor, and on an inhale, bring your knees back up to center. And then again, taking a moment here, notice what you notice and feel all that you feel. So if you haven't already, come into a Shavasana style resting pose, or this might feel more like a starfish style resting pose, where your legs are spread out wide, even wider than your hips, and your arms by your side. Again, they can be closer to the hips, or if it feels better in the shoulders, so that the shoulders rest on the floor, perhaps a little bit higher. We're going to work a little bit more through the legs now and see what that movement through the legs does for any feeling in our hips, and maybe even a little bit in the spine or even up to the heart. So I love this one because it's like a marionette pose. So what we're going to do here is lift the first leg just a few centimeters, and then bend the knee and bring it up in the direction of your shoulder. On your exhale, bring the knee over and cross your body, and you're going to extend your leg and pedal through the foot with a long leg and sweep your leg back around and drop it to the ground. So for the second side, you lift the foot just a few centimeters, bend the knee, bring it up towards the shoulder, and as you exhale, you cross the leg over your body, lengthen and sweep. You can also bring some movement through the ankle and the foot there, pedaling action, and then release. We're going to do about 4 more of those. Inhale, lift, bend, reach. And as you exhale, extend the leg and push through the bottom, through the balls of the feet, maybe even the heel, and release. So continue like this, moving in your rhythm, the rhythm that feels good for your breathing and in your body. And all the while, again, allowing yourself this moment to notice and feel. And all the while, noticing whatever it is that you are breathing in and out of your heart, a heart that is big enough to hold it all, whatever it is. This one also, I notice a lot of noises in the hips and definitely some sensations. I always am mindful and careful that none of these sensations, that none of these movements feel like sharp or fiery, nothing like pain. So the next time you finish on your second side, with the second leg, come back to your starfish or shavasana resting position. And again, reconnect to your feeling and return your attention to your breathing. Lovely. Good job. Now, we're going to finally get off the floor. So go ahead and bend your knees. You could simply just rock your way, grabbing behind the knees and rocking up and down a bit. Be careful not to rock on your neck. If that feels like too much for your day, for right now, you could also just roll to your side and then come up and sit, and then come to hands and knees, wherever you are. So in hands and knees pose, the wrist is right underneath your shoulder, pretty much parallel with the top line of your mat, and your knees are just about underneath your hips. If that doesn't feel comfortable, you could take the mat and fold it or put a blanket underneath your knees. Just gonna get moving here in any way that feels good and allows you to move with your breath. So as you exhale, you can round your back, pull your tail down, and as you inhale, soften your belly and look up as you arch. As you exhale, pull the belly in as you pull your tail down and your chin comes close to your chest. As you inhale, let your sitting bones reach back and out. So we're just taking these cat and cow extension and flexion of the spine to bring a little bit of movement there and hopefully some more awareness. Sometimes it even helps to close the eyes to draw that awareness a little bit more inwards. You might also want to bring a different kind of movement into it. If you bring your knees back a little bit more so they're not underneath your hips, you can start to move the hips and the whole body in a little bit of a circle movement. See if that feels good. Often also, especially after lots of sitting, or maybe even at the beginning of your day, can be a little bit creaky. If you do try moving in a circle or in any way that feels interesting, mix it up a little bit. Move the other way. Have a little bit of fun with it. See if you can just move in a way that feels good in your body, that feels like you are letting this movement say thank you to this beautiful body. And wherever you've moved, come back to a neutral position, hands and knees. Keeping the elbows soft, keeping the neck long, and see if you can notice the natural curves in your spine. Noticing its length, the expansion of the inhale, and notice again if there's any tension that you can just soften with your awareness and your exhale. We're going to take this into a bit of a twist. So, when you're ready, on an inhale, you're going to bring that first arm up. You might even look up. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring the arm underneath your standing arm and then bring the outside of the shoulder in the direction of the floor. So it can come all the way to the floor or just hanging out a little bit above. If it doesn't feel like going down all the way, will serve your body well today. Now your hips, probably, they slid in the direction of your twist, so you might want to just gently, 0.5 millimeter, redirect your hips back to center. So you're looking to feel your hips just about above your knees. And then again, feel your breath. So this is one version of the twist. You might want to stay here. And it might feel interesting to twist a little bit more, perhaps coming up onto your fingertips here, or maybe even extending the leg out to the side in the direction of your twist. If you do that, you'll probably want to pivot on the other knee and then point your foot in the direction of your extended leg. And soften with your exhales, breathing a little bit easier. Now, whatever you did with your legs, even if it's just staying and feeling, you might want to extend that upper arm up a bit. See if that feels good. Maybe even reaching the fingertips, crawling and walking with them around. And we're just seeing if we can open the heart a little bit more with your inhale here. And as you exhale, allowing that energy to soften, to wash away any tension, and come back to your center. And then when you're ready, on your next breath, begin to retrace your steps and slowly make your way back. That first position on an inhale, opening the chest, reach your arm up, exhale back to hands and knees in a neutral position. You might want to stay in this position for a while because you might already be noticing a very big difference, a very big change, or something on one side of your body now that you can notice and feel much more. So you might also feel like a little bit of movement would benefit here, or even pausing, coming back into child's pose. And then when you're ready, meet me back in a neutral hands and knees position and prepare for the second side. So you'll bring now your second arm up on an inhale, reach up, maybe even look up, and then exhale, bring the arm underneath your standing arm and the shoulder down towards or all the way to the floor, the side of the head resting on the ground, if that's available. Bring your hips back to center so they're right over your knees. And then just check in with yourself as you check into this pose. And consider, what would it be like to let this pose say thank you? Perhaps this pose on this side is already very different, and you want to try a different variation that's going to be more accessible, that's going to allow you to breathe a little easier. Regardless of what you did on the other side, you might want to feel a little bit more. You might want to feel like extending the leg this time around. If you do that, you might pivot the knee in the direction of the leg and walking your fingers to extend that upper arm perhaps above the head, or even walking it all the way around towards the back of the head. What adjustments would be most interesting for you to breathe in and out, feeling connection and loving in your heart? Opening the heart a little bit more up towards the ceiling with your inhale, and exhaling to soften. Now, whatever you've gotten yourself into, mindfully make your way out. On an inhale, reach up, open up, and exhale back to hands and knees. And just take a moment again, taking the time to take care of your experience. And you might decide that it's time to move again. You might feel like some circular movement, some cat and cow movement. Or maybe it's exactly the right time for a downward facing dog in your day. However you decide to move here, again, notice that movement, and then just feel, just be, and enjoy your breath. Maybe it would feel nice to come to the top of a push-up position here, with your hands under your shoulders, the spine extended long. Maybe it's time to flow as you lower yourself down and inhale, open your heart. And wherever you've been, come back and meet me in downward facing dog. And now let's see if we can settle into this pose, settling into the breathing. And then see if we can let go of everything else. Letting go of anything you don't need. That includes unnecessary movement here. And just reconnect again. Flowing with your breath. Now very slowly, on your next exhale, begin to bend your knees, taking your time, lower them as slowly as you can. And then bring the big toes to touch. With your knees wide apart, make your way back down into child pose. You can also use your hands here underneath your head. Try to have the seat resting on the back of the feet. Or if that feels too much for your knees, you could also put something behind your knees or underneath your seat, or both. And again, settle in and see if there's anything else you don't need, and you can just release. When you're ready, we're going to come back down to lie down on the floor. There's no rush. But when you're ready, come back all the way onto your back. And come into one of my favorite poses, especially for times that feel stuck, where I feel like sometimes it's my thought process, my writing process, or simply just in the body, I feel a little bit stiff. I'm going to come into happy baby pose. So start by bending your knees, feet on the floor, and lengthening your back into the support of the floor. We'll feel the natural curves of the spine, and use the exhales to sink in with gravity, letting go of tension. Now, bring your knees up in the direction of your shoulders or the armpits here, and keep your lower spine resting down towards the ground and reaching away from your head. And you might want to grab now behind your knees. This is one variation of the happy baby pose. The spine is long, but now I start to bring the legs up. Engage your center here, so pull your navel in a little bit more. And it might feel nice to grab now a little higher, grabbing closer to your shins or your ankles. It's another variation here. Again, the knees in the direction of your shoulders and armpits. And some of you are going to be able to reach for your feet. With your arms on the inside of your knees, see if you can grab the outside of your feet. And in this way, keeping your toes and your knees aligned, bend your knees a little closer to the floor. Your seat reaching down away from the heart, but now we begin to push the feet up towards the heavens. And all the while, breathing in and out of a heart that is big enough to hold it all. You can also add a little bit of movement to this pose, perhaps just rocking your body. Another nice massage technique for the back. Or you might want to explore a bit more and stretch your legs a bit. Maybe stretch one leg at a time. Maybe stretch both legs at a time. If it feels like now is the time for that. Ooh. So just see if you can be in this pose and explore how this pose feels explore the way a happy baby would, full of interest and fully immersed in your experience. It's okay even to add a little smile like a baby would here. And wherever you are, slowly come back into stillness. And again, settle in. And settle into your breath. When you're ready, releasing your pose, releasing the legs back down to the ground, and beginning to prepare for your final resting pose here. So coming back to a version of Shavasana, or any resting pose that will allow you to fully release unnecessary movement, any tension you might still be holding. Shavasana, a time to pause, a time to reset, to recollect and remember. A time to turn your awareness back inwards to self. So make any adjustments that you need to, or add any support that you need to. Perhaps put the blanket again underneath your knees, a little bit of bend in the knees, will soften the front of the hips and give you a little extra comfort in your lower back, especially. You can really find any position that you can rest in easily. With the back of the head on the ground, on an exhale, allow the head to roll to the side. And inhale, come back to center. And exhale, feel what that's like on the other side. And inhale, back to your center. Again, making any final movements, any changes that are needed, so that the next few moments, about 4 minutes again, we can settle in with full awareness, with full attention, back to noticing your experience, feeling any sensation, and simply being with and enjoying your breath. With every exhale, allow your whole body to rest a little heavier. With your inhales, see if you can notice the length of your whole body lying here. With your exhales, allow the weight of your whole body to drop a little heavier. With your inhales, see if you can notice the contact points, all of the parts of your body that are touching the floor. With your exhale, allow all of these points to settle down a little more. And bring your attention down to your left foot. And even a little more focused down to the left big toe. And again, we're not forcing, just observing. See if you can notice anything there is to notice about your left big toe. And then also notice your left little toe. Breathing and feeling any sensation that is there, even if that doesn't feel like much of anything. Just pause and observe. Once you've noticed those toes, see if you can notice all of the toes in between. Noticing the space between the toes and all around. And move with your attention over the balls of your left foot, along the middle of the foot and its arches, and then down into the heel and the bottom, the sole of the entire left foot, all at once. And continue wandering with your attention past the ankle and the heel, moving your awareness up into the leg. Notice your shin bone and the calf. Continue guiding awareness upward into the knee, noticing the front of your knee and the back side, the pit of the knee. Breathe. Continue moving your awareness gently, mindfully, observing the upper leg, thigh muscles, noticing the top side of your leg, and notice the back side of the left leg all at once. Notice the entire left leg resting here, heavy and soft. And then bring your attention back down to the bottom of the body and notice your right foot. Narrow your awareness a little more and notice your right big toe. Notice the right little toe. Again, just observing neutrally without trying to change anything. Just observe. Once you notice those toes, see if you can feel all of the toes in between the big and little toes. Continue moving your awareness now up the body, past the balls of the right foot and the arches on the inside and outside, down across the sole of the foot, the middle of the foot, and then into the heel, noticing the whole right foot at once. Continue wandering with the awareness past the ankle and up into the lower leg, observing your shin, the shin bone, observing the calf, its muscles, continuing moving awareness up into the knee and the kneecap. And also noticing the backside, the knee pit. Moving further up the leg, feeling your thigh muscles and the top side of the right leg. Noticing your hamstrings on the back side of the upper leg. And then noticing your entire right leg at once. Noticing both of your legs, long and soft, resting on the ground. Notice your hips and your pelvis. Noticing the left side and the right side of your pelvis. And see if you can notice and feel anything in between the pelvis, the inner space of the pelvic floor. It's a place where we carry the whole body, and also the seat of our creativity, our reproductive organs. And simply noticing what you notice, feeling what you feel. And with each exhale, softening a little more. Softening your lower back a little heavier into the floor. Softening the abdomen and the area around your navel. Wherever your attention moves, energy follows your awareness. And with your exhale, allowing this space to soften a little easier. Coming back to the center line of the body, your spine, and the space right behind your navel in the back. Softening down a little heavier. Bring your attention to your solar plexus, your inner sun, just above the navel, at the center of you. Breathing, shining with beautiful light. As you draw your attention there, a warm energy follows and softens a little more. Continue moving your awareness up into your heart space, into the lung space. Breathing easy and smoothly. With each exhale, simply softening a little more. And allowing your inner organs to soften and relax a little easier. Bring your attention to your collarbones, just below your shoulders, riding the winds of the breath. With each exhale, settling down a little bit more at rest. Noticing your upper back, your shoulder blades. And with your exhales, allowing the whole back to get a little heavier into the floor. Noticing your shoulders, the front of the shoulder, the top of the shoulder, and again the back side of the shoulders, softening, relaxed. Observe your upper arms and your elbows. Noticing your lower arms and both of your wrists. Bringing your attention to your hands and noticing the inside, the palm of both hands and the back side of both hands, resting a little more. Bringing your attention back to the center line of the spine, where the neck rises from the body, noticing the length of your neck on all sides, and where the neck meets the head. Notice the back of your head and the sides of your head. Noticing the top of your head. And with your exhale, allowing the whole head, the neck and the body to soften ever more. Noticing your forehead and softening. Notice your eyebrows and the space between your eyebrows. Smooth, soft. Relaxing your eyes, your eyelids, the eyeballs. Softening all of the muscles of your face as you let go of all tension everywhere. Soften your lips and your chin. Notice the skin as it softens a little bit more, resting down towards the floor. And then bring your attention to the tip of the nose and allow your full attention to rest here, resting in the gentle rise and fall of your natural breath. Slowly, when you feel ready, begin to deepen your breathing. And take the time to fully release each breath. And with this deeper breathing and the increased movement, when it feels right and when you feel ready, slowly begin to bring movement back to the physical body. Moving with this new energy, this new vibration of life. Moving in any way that feels good. Moving in a way that love makes you move. And if you like, You can show yourself some love again by bending your knees, hugging your legs into the body. Give yourself a big squeeze. When you're ready, rolling to your side, to the right side for you. And just resting for a moment. When you feel ready, you can use your hands to help yourself up into a comfortable seat. Be sure to sit up high enough that your spine can be lifted, and that there's no pain, no pressure in your hips, no discomfort in the knees. So sit up on something or sit as high as you need to sit comfortably and easy. With an inhale, you can bring your arms over your head and exhale the hands back to the center of the heart, to Anjali Mudra, the mudra of offering. And closing your practice in any way that feels right for you. Above all, remembering to say thank you. Thank you to yourself for taking the time to make yoga a part of your day. Thank you to this body and to your heart. Namaste.